What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing a super spicy team for the Open Great League featuring a triple bug theme team. By the time I had uploaded yesterday's Emolga showcase, everyone and their mums had already showcased it, so today I decided to go for a pick that I can almost guarantee nobody else was going to be showcasing, Liquidation Armaldo. And since I had recently invested in a level 50 Dwebble, I figured I might as well run it in an ABB style team, with Buzzwole in the lead. Before we go any further, I want to clarify this is not a team you should run if you want to be going 5-0 in every set, but I did really enjoy using this team and surprisingly still had more positive sets than negative. With that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favourite bug type Pokemon to run in the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead Buzzwole into Medicham. Now, Medicham does technically beat my entire team, which is not ideal since after the new seasonal buffs, Medicham is probably the most popular Pokemon in the Open Great League right now, but it is good to see it in the league if we are going to see it. I can safely shield up this move. It is the Psychic, so good shield usage there. I'm now going to be able to overfarm just slightly, going for the lunge here up against the Medicham, and the Medicham chooses to no shield, so they're going to come in with a Lantern now, and this is not ideal. I've got two rock types in the back, but let's see what we can do. We go for the superpower. They actually let it through, which is huge for me. I'm now going to let the Buzzwole go down. Can't afford to shield it. I would not make it to another superpower. I'm now going to come in with my Armaldo. I am running cross poison instead of the rock blast there. It does allow me to get to the charge move before they get to a surf, and we get the boost as well. They go for the surf, and now the opponent's going to swap into a Dugong, and now this is where it would be helpful if I was running rock blast, but as I'm running Armaldo as the safe swap, I'm not running a rock type charge move, and here we get a second boost, but I'm forced to swap out, catch the Icy Wind onto my Dwebble, and at this point I will be able to fully smack down, farm them all the way down. They do make it to another charge move here, and what I don't want to do is give this Lantern any extra farm than I need to, so I'm going to wait for the Dugong to get me very low. I come out with the X's are loaded. They're only going to get a maximum of 2 sparks off, and that will allow me to just barely outpace this Lantern to the final cross poison, which will be enough damage after a little bit of lag to take out the Lantern here, and we do take that game. So right there we weren't actually lagging, the opponent probably just force quit the battle, meaning it took a little bit longer for the game to end. But into the next battle we see a Galarian Stunfisk in the lead, and we see a safe swap with the Golisopod, and this is actually quite tricky now that they can run the Liquidation. The opponent baits me as well, which is awful for me. I'm going to go for the X's and making sure I get it off before they make it to the Liquidation. At this point, I'm going to call the bait. It is the Liquidation, and it does one-shot the Dwebble, which is unfortunate, but I'm thinking now I can come in with my Armaldo, and I've got Liquidation as well, so if they come back in with Galarian Stunfisk, I can hit for big, super effective damage. So we do have to tank an X-Scissor, luckily not another Liquidation. They come back in with the G-Fisk. We're going to go for the Liquidation here, and how much damage does it do? It does about 50%, and we get to a second Liquidation before the Galarian Stunfisk throws, and they let it go through as well. They come in with a Araquanid, and now I can see they are running a double water bug backline. Very cool. Running an ABB style team with 2 bugs as well. But here we're going to be able to spam these lunges. They're also going to be debuffing us with the bubble beams. It is battle of the debuffs. We're going to go for another lunge, and the opponent really should have shielded the first one in my opinion, because now each successive lunge is going to do less damage as they continue to debuff me with the bubble beams. Now you could also say the same about me and shielding the first bubble beam, but of course they do have the option to go for a bigger hitting charge move. I'm going to swap into Armaldo. The opponent tries to go for the farm down. They're not able to do so, and I'm able to Fury Cutter, farm down the Araquanid, and take that game. Into the next battle, we see a Lantern in the lead, and the opponent's going to go for a Surf straight away. Fine with me. Going to let the first one go through, and technically I am going to be shielding the second surf, so maybe I should shield the first one, but here I'm going to go for the lunge, and I should be able to shield once and then just fully counter farm them down just before they make it to surf number 3. And if the opponent doesn't go for a swap, we do get the farm down. They're now coming with Scrafty. Honestly, I should go for a lunge bait, but I like to go for the superpower, guaranteeing big damage or grabbing a shield, although getting that debuff would be very nice. The opponent goes for a power up punch, and now we are going to go for a liquidation here just before they they make it to the next power-up punch, and the opponent does use a shield. We get the debuff, and I'm going to shield this up. I really hope I can make it to another liquidation, but it doesn't look like we're getting there, so I have to settle for the cross poison, but they are debuffed, so it still does some decent damage here. And I'm going to have to come in with my Buzzwole. They are boosted, but we are able to get the counter farm down. They have a Venusaur in the back, and now this all depends. Can we live a Frenzy Plant and make it to the Rock Tomb before they farm us down? That does so much damage, and unfortunately Dwebble is just not tanky enough to make it to the Rock Tomb, and we do lose that game. But into the next battle, we see a Shadow Swampert in the lead. Gonna stay in with my Buzzwole, of course, and I will shield the first Hydro Cannon because this will do big damage to the Buzzwole. You can see my IVs aren't great, but this is a traded Buzzwole as well. We're gonna go for a Lunge, and Lunge does grab a shield. Now we can safely let this move go through, and once again, we will just be able to fully counter farm them down just before they make it to another charge move. They come in with Talonflame, I swap into my Armaldo here, and I'm barely gonna outpace them to a liquidation. Pretty much guaranteed to grab a shield in this matchup, and at that point I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna let Armaldo go down. They probably go for the flame charge, and they do, and now they swap into a Frostlass. So bit tricky here. Of course, we do hit for super effective damage with our Dwebble, but I'm actually going to come in with the Buzzwole. I go for superpower straight away, making sure they can't farm up too much energy here as I do debuff my defense. Now I'm going to come in with the Dwebble. I will shield the first charge move, hoping I get the full farm down before they make it to another charge move, but I barely don't get there. But this is actually better for me because this does allow me to be just 3 smackdowns away from the Rock Tomb, and this Rock Tomb will be enough damage to take out the Talonflame quite easily, and we take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Buzzwole into Mew. So we've got 3 bug types here, so technically that should be pretty good for us, although of course they do resist the counter damage. So I swap into my Armaldo, gonna go straight for liquidation. It does some decent damage. We do get the debuff as well, and this was after 7, so I assumed it's probably a flame charge, and I was right in that assumption. And once again, the opponent coming in with a Shadow Lapras. It would be great if I had the Rock Blast, but I don't. I also get an unnecessary boost, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We're going to come in with the Buzzwole. They do have enough for an Ice Beam, so do shield that up. It is just a Surf, and unfortunately, we barely miss out on the farm down before they make it to Surf number 2, and that's not ideal. They get us very low. They come in with Wigglytuff. Once again, I should just go for that Lunge debuff, but I go for the Superpower. The Charm takes me out, and if I got that debuff off, honestly, we'd be looking pretty good here, as I would be taking a lot less damage from the Charms. They come back in with the Mew. They go for the full farm down here. I need to make it to an X-Scissor and a Rock Tomb to take out the Wigglytuff, but I don't live the Charm there. So definitely going for Lunge is my friend. I should be doing it more often, but going for Superpower just seems more, I guess, less likely for them to shield, but oh well, we're just getting the hang of this team. These are pretty early on in the battles that I started running this team, and you can see here we are going to make it to the Rock Tomb on the CMP tie with the Noctowl, so not actually that great of a matchup with the Dwebble. Of course, if I was running Crustle, it does have Rock Slide, a lot better charge move, gets there faster, makes it a much more comfortable matchup, but we do barely farm down the Noctowl here, come out with an X-Scissor loaded, and the opponent comes back in with their Shadow Quagsire. They do get the Mudshot farm down, but that's fine with me. Gonna come in with my Buzzwole, and we are going to shield this up. Probably going to be a Stone Edge, and it is the Stone Edge. They now come in with a Sableye. I'm going to go for the go for the Lunge, and this does debuff their attack. And I'm now going to go for a second Lunge, and this should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and it does so. We're now going to swap, try to catch the return. Unfortunately, not able to do so. They're going to go for a foul play. They will need to throw a second foul play, but I'm actually going to be able to outpace them, get to a Cross Poison, or maybe they just underestimated the energy generation from Fury Cutter, and were able to make it to another Cross Poison up against the Quagsire. Even resisted, it nearly takes them out. One more Fury Cutter does the job, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, a Deoxys defense in the lead. This is a really difficult lead to take on. Even though I've got 3 bug types, you think Bug up against Psychic should be great, but it's actually not, because they do have Rock Slide for the 2 bugs in the back and Psycho Boost for my Buzzwole in the lead. I'm going to swap catch the second Psycho Boost onto my shiny Armaldo. It doesn't do that much damage. They stay in initially. They get like one extra counter through, so we've got to be aware of that in the end game. But once again, they come in with an Ice type into my Rock type. I wish I was running the Rock Blast, but honestly, Rock Blast is an awful charge move. We really need Rock Slide for Armaldo to be of any real use here, but we're going to let this move go through. They go for an Icy Wind. They are one Ice Shard away from a second Icy Wind. I don't really want to tank that damage onto my Buzzwole, so I'm going to go for the superpower straight away, taking them out. No messing around here from the Buzzwole. They come back in with Deoxys, and because they got that one counter off before swapping out, I slightly misjudged how many counters they were at there, so we didn't make a catch. I'm going to go for the lunge here and expecting a shield, and now I'm going to swap, try to catch the move. They've got a Shadow Abomasnow in the back, and this is going to be really, really close. They're going to go for the charge move here, and they actually just go for a Weather Ball, but they're 2 away. Now they would have made it to a second Weather Ball. I have to throw here. X-Scissor takes out Abomasnow, but the opponent is going to throw just before we make it to X-Scissor number 2. Brilliant timing by the opponent, and now they will be able to outpace me to a Psycho Boost, and this will be enough damage to take out my Buzzwole and take that game. So GG's to that opponent, very well played. Into the next game, great lead for the Buzzwole, leading into a Lowland Sandslash. The opponent swaps into Lantern. Now this is quite tricky here as I don't have a good response to Lantern. I kind of have to stay in, at least initially. And I'm able to land a lunge before this opponent wants to throw a charge move at all. So now I can tank one Surf, going to shield up the second Surf, and then fully commit to the farm down, as I will be able to outpace them here with the counter damage before they make it to Surf number 3. Then I'll come in with a Pidgeot, I save swap into my Armaldo, gonna go for that liquidation, and this might even grab a shield from the Pidgeot, and it does exactly that. They now swap into the Alolan Sandslash, and they barely outpace me to a charge move, so very good timing by the opponent. They go for the drill run, it takes me out, and now I'm going to come in with my Buzzwole, farm up to back-to-back charge moves here. With the Buzzwole, we get to the back-to-back superpowers. This first one should be taking out the Alolan Sandslash, but they actually shield that, and that's fine with me. We've got back-to-back, we can throw the second one. Superpower takes out Sandslash, and now it's Dwebble up against Pidgeot. They go for a charge move right off the bat, so I'm assuming it's a Feather Dance, and it's exactly that. And now here, this is going to be a tough call, but I think they're just going to Feather Dance again. And they do go for the Feather Dance, so that's fine with me. Now, we are quad debuffed. This Rock 2 might not even take them out, but I should still be able to get the Smackdown farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Buzzwole into Dragonair, so I'm actually just going to go straight for a superpower, knowing we'll throw on CMP, and we win CMP with the Buzzwole as well, so that's quite handy to know. I actually had no idea, but we are now going to shield up this charge move, and I'm going to swap into my Armaldo, knowing I would outpace them to a charge move and potentially baiting out a Bastiodon, but it doesn't look like they're running Bastiodon as they come in with a Swampert. I'm going to go for that liquidation. It does big damage, and it actually puts them into range where a Cross Poison will take them out. So I'm going to go for the Cross Poison here just before they make it to Hydro Cannon number 2, and we do get all shields down on my opponent's end. Of course, we have no shields left, so Hydro Cannon will take out the Armaldo, but I'm going to wait out my switch clock, come back in with the Buzzwole, and get a full counter farm down. And now the opponent comes in with a Talonflame. We swap into our Dwebble, and unfortunately this is not looking too good for us. If they're running Aqua Tail, this pretty much will take us out. But they go for a Body Slam. Maybe they're running Body Slam and Dragon Pulse there. I'm not going to complain though, as we make it to the Rock Tomb in time. And Rock Tomb takes out the Talonflame, and we take that game. So very fortunate for me that Dragonair was not running Aqua Tail. Either that or they had no idea what typing Dwebble was, but I'll certainly take it. And into the next battle, another Golisopod. Pretty decent Pokemon in this new meta now that it does have Liquidation. Of course, we're also running Liquidation here, but it's just not as good. It's non-stab. We don't have as good a charge move, or sorry, a fast move. And now we're going to go for a double resisted Cross Poison, but the opponent calls that we didn't have enough energy for a second liquidation, so very good counting, and that's really unfortunate. I wanted that shield advantage. We do get the counter farm down, and the opponent is going to wait at the switch clock, come in with their Golisopod. I'm going to let this move go through. I know it's just another X-Scissor, so the opponent not even farming to the liquidation, but they've got a Shadow Quagsire in the back, and this is looking like it's game over. We've got 2 shields, but so have they, and X-Scissor really doesn't do an awful lot of damage. Unfortunately, Dwebble isn't too good in these losing matchups. It's not super versatile, but we're going to go for an X-Scissor here, and I'm hoping I can swap into my Buzzwole in time, but I'm not able to do so. I think they're at back-to-back Mud Bombs, so I'm going to shield this up, try and catch the next move, and we are able to catch the move perfectly. But no, it's a Stone Edge. I didn't catch that. The opponent knew what I was doing. They're able to go for the Stone Edge, take out Buzzwole, reach a Mud Bomb, and this will be taking out the Dwebble, and we do lose that game. So very well played by that opponent. Into the next battle, we see Buzzwole into Umbreon. Great lead for us, although they could potentially run Psychic. But this opponent's actually going to throw straight away, so this is just going to be a Foul Play or a Dark Pulse. It is just a Foul Play. Not sure why they threw that, but they're going to swap into a Medicham. I kind of just have to stay in this matchup, at least initially, and we can barely not make it to a lunge here, but this is just going to be an Ice Punch, so I'm going to let that move go through, go for a lunge number 2, and if they do shield up, I'm going to swap into my Armaldo. And now I'm going to overfarm just a little bit, go for Liquidation, and Liquidation from this range takes out the Medicham. They come back in with the Umbreon. Honestly, I have no idea how bulky or glassy Armaldo is, so I go for a Cross Poison here. Not sure if I would live a Foul Play and reach the Liquidation, but the opponent is going to overfarm massively, knowing I'm just spamming these Cross Poisons, so definitely a mistake on my end. I should have at least committed to one Liquidation, and you can see Foul Play didn't take us out there, so I should have been able to take out the Umbreon, but I'm going to come in with my Buzzwole anyway. Hopefully we can still take this game. We get the counter farm down, and the opponent's got a Registeel in the back, and we have just barely enough health where we will be able to make it to back-to-back superpowers. The opponent goes for a Focus Blast here. We're at the back-to-back. I'm going to throw the first one, and then I will swap to clear the debuff, swapping into my Dwebble, and we should live any charge move here, and it doesn't really matter if we don't here because we do have that superpower loaded, but they go for a Focus Blast. It doesn't take me out. I'm thinking I can make it to a Rock Tomb. Wouldn't it be great if I landed a BM Rock Tomb to take out the Registeel? But it actually doesn't take them out there, and we do get the attack drop, of course, it is guaranteed, but Focus Blast takes out Dwebble. We've got that superpower loaded, barely hanging on, and superpower will take out the Registeel, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Buzzwole into Medicham once again. So once again, just going to stay in initially. Going to go for back-to-back lunges, and then I will swap into Armaldo if the opponent does choose to stay in. So we go for the first lunge. They actually shield the first one, so I'm definitely going to shield this up. Even if they bait me, I will make it to a second lunge before they make it to the Psychic, and so I'm going to throw straight away this time. And after landing this lunge, I'm going to swap into the Armaldo, and we can easily tank a Psychic when it is double debuffed. But the opponent goes for another Ice Punch. That's fine with me, but they do chip and then swap into Bastiodon, and I'm really hoping I can make it to back-to-back Liquidations. The first one lands. Honestly, that does not do much damage. It is non-stab after all. We go for the second Liquidation. The opponent can tank that very easily as well. So yeah, you can see non-stab Liquidation really isn't that great. It's the same as Crunch, so if you've got a Pokemon that has non-stab Crunch, it doesn't really do an awful lot of damage, even when it's super effective. But we do also have to factor in that is Bastiodon, the bulkiest Pokemon in this league. And now they come in with Toxapex, another incredibly bulky Pokemon. At this point, it's looking like it's game over. I think the only play is if I fully farm down the Medicham, somehow land the Rock Tomb, and for whatever reason, they don't make it to back-to-back charge moves. But that's just not going to be the case. We go for Rock Tomb, they do shield it up, and there is no way Buzzwole can get to enough charge moves to take out the Toxapex, so I am going to let them farm me down here, and unfortunately we do lose that game. Going into the next battle, we see a Purified Sableye in the lead, so I am going to stay in this matchup initially, go for a lunge. They have to go for the return, or at least farm up enough energy to make it to a return before throwing, otherwise I will resist the foul play. The opponent swaps into a Noctowl, and we swap into our Dwebble, and we can tank the first charge move. Once again, the opponent going for Shadow Ball. Not really sure why they would do that there, but we're going to go for the Rock Tomb, and this will debuff their attack if they do choose to shield, which they do. And now hopefully I can get the full farm down before they make it to Sky Attack number 3. It's going to be close, but we do get there. And we survive 2 Shadow Claws there. We barely make it to an X-Scissor, and this will grab a shield from the Sableye, the final shield as well. And now I'm going to come in with my Buzzwole. I'm going to go for a lunge. No, I'm actually not going to go for a lunge. I'm going to over farm in this matchup, shield up the Surf, and I will farm to back-to-back superpowers, throwing just before they make it to the second Surf, and this will barely not take them out. I have to throw the second superpower, but this will now get rid of the Lantern, and I'm going to swap instantly, but the opponent throws straight away. Honestly, I should have just stayed in with my Buzzwole. I didn't want them to farm me down, but they do throw the foul play straight away. The second foul play takes us out, and now it's a race, fast move damage, and it's a simultaneous KO. So definitely could have stayed in there, and if they did throw the foul play into my Buzzwole, I think I would have made it to a cross poison before they made it to back-to-back foul plays up against Armaldo, but in hindsight, I wasn't really expecting them to throw into the Buzzwole. But into the next game, we see another Medicham in the lead here. Or maybe they safe swapped it in, I'm not really sure, I wasn't paying too much attention. But once again, going to go for that first lunge, and wait, did they just go for power up punch? No, they're going for Ice Punch here, and we are going to over farm in this matchup. I'm now going to swap into my Armaldo, go for a full farm down here. I don't care if they Psychic us or not. They go for another Ice Punch, fine with me. We bait out a Scrafty, and that's very strange running an ABA type team with double counter users, but we go for a cross poison bait. Unfortunately, we don't get any debuff. We go for liquidation, it does big damage, but they still get the farm down. And now I'm going to come in with my Dwebble, and now I do remember, I think they were running a Galarian Stunfisk in the lead, so not an ABA team, an ABB style team with two counter users in the back. We're going to come in with Dwebble, just soak up all this damage, and hopefully make it to the X-Scissor just before they make it to another power-up punch. I think a power-up punch with the double boost probably would take us out from that range. Now I'm going to go straight for the superpower here. They've got 2 shields remaining, but they let it go through, and that's absolutely massive. I will just be able to fully farm down this Stunfisk from this range. They go for Rock Slide, but they've still got Medicham. I forgot about that. And then for whatever reason, I panic and I throw a lunge here. I needed that 1 counter damage because I would have then been able to fully farm them down, but the opponent now makes it to a charge move. Definitely misplayed that match. I just did not remember that they had a Medicham there, and that completely threw off my end game. But unfortunately, we do lose that game. And into the final battle of this video, Shadow Hitmonchan in the lead. Very spicy pick. We are going to let the first one go through. No, we're going to shield this up. It could be a Fire Punch after all. Just an Ice Punch, and I'm thinking I should be able to fully counter, farm them down. But they get to a charge move, and this is just going to be a power punch, so I will let it go through. We've got a ton of energy, going to swap instantly into my Dwebble, and the opponent responds with a Frostlass, so I'm hoping I can shield once and fully farm down this Frostlass before they make it to back-to-back avalanches. And we're able to do exactly that. We come out with a Rock Tomb loaded, gonna throw it straight away into the Noctowl. This will debuff their attack, and I'm gonna go for an X-Scissor on the CMP tie with this Noctowl. Perfect timing there, and the opponent does also use their second shield, scared of a second Rock Tomb, and that's fine with me. They go for Shadow Ball. I think they did undercharge that, or might just be the double debuff. Or sorry, the single debuff, but we're now going to come in with Armaldo, not allowing them to farm us down. We can go for a liquidation, and this will easily put them into range where a superpower will take them out. Or they can go for the farm down here, it doesn't matter. We make it to a cross poison, and this will be enough damage to take out the Noctowl, and we take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And as for my response, I'm going to go with Shadow Venomoth. I really enjoyed using it back when Poison Fang was only 35 energy. Of course, it did get nerfed, but it then got buffed again this season, so maybe it's a Pokemon I will revisit in the future. If you want to see more spicy content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.